Okay, today I'm working on that 52 MG you've probably seen in the background shots, and I told you one day I would do a walk around on it and have not got that done. Snow on the ground, the driveway's clean. I moved the Mustang out so I had some more room. I got to move some stuff around so I can work on a couple of cars over here. And anyway, so what I'm finally trying to get on to find out why this thing is not starting. I've had it 11 years, and besides it being a cold start, you know, from letting it sit for 2, 3, 4 months at a time, you just had to pump the crap out of it, and eventually it would fire up. But over the years, it's progressively gotten harder and harder to start, even warm. It used to be, you know, first piston up, it was running. If you let it sit overnight, pump it twice, the thing was always poof, it was running. And it hasn't done that for a long time. And now now if you shut it off anywhere, it may or may not start. And the last time I drove it, that's what happened. And so I am done fumbling with it, and I'm going to try to fix it and fix it right and find out what the problem is. Let me go through a little bit of what we've got here. This is I'm going with a mid-70s 2.3 Ford 4-cylinder engine, basically out of a Pinto, 2.3 liter. Dad built this. It's been over 30 years ago, and he had a head shaved 60 thousandths. It's got about 10 1/4 to 1 compression. It does have a header. It has the Ford 2-barrel, that progressive, what I call a progressive 2-stage 2-barrel. I'm not really sure what they call it. It's like half a quadrajet. It runs on the primary, and then when you get on it hard, it opens up the secondary like a quadrajet does. And I believe it's made by Holley. I don't think it's a Motorcraft, but it may be Motorcraft. I'm not sure. It doesn't matter. Heck, it could even be a Weber. I don't know. I haven't really looked into it yet. But either way, here's what's happening. The thing, I've done things because I knew it was, you know, having trouble starting. And I'll do just a quick, I just hate talking about stuff, but I want to let you know what's going on and then why I've done what I've done. When it started giving me problems, of course, the first thing you do is, you know, it's an older unit, so it's got points in it still. So I went ahead and replaced, you know, points, condenser, you know, cap, rotor, plugs, wire, replaced all that stuff. It really didn't make any difference. So I replaced the coil a couple of times. One ballast, this thing has what I'm guessing is because of it being points. I ran into that with GM before, where it has a resistor feeding power to the coil, or either from the coil to, I'm not sure how it gets to where it goes. But either way, I knew it was a problem. And I also knew a couple of years ago, I noticed it started falling on its face if you try to run it through second gear. So I knew it had a fuel issue. So I replaced the fuel pump and the filter on the, that's that kind of a brassy looking thing on the, and when I did all that stuff, and this thing really came to life on power. So it had obviously had issues, and the power is more. The starting did not make any difference. So I bought a Protonics against my better judgment, because I've had trouble with their stuff before. But I went ahead and bought the Protonics flame, you know, they got the flamethrower coil, which I'm running, and then I got the electronic conversion for the distributor. Never fired one time. Not one time did it ever try to fire. I got a hold of them. We tried different things. They finally told me to run the red to the positive of the battery and the black to the negative of the battery. And although I won't be able to shut it off, it should fire at not one. It never fired one time. So I ended up having to put points back in it. So I put another set of points in condenser, thinking maybe I got bad condenser or something. And when I put that coil on it, it honestly felt like it healed it. It fired up every time for a few days. And the last time I drove it, which has been quite a while ago, I moved it around here a time or two, but it's really hard starting. And anyway, I went to a friend's house, thought I had this thing licked, parked at his house, was there 40 minutes, got back in the car, did not get home for 4 hours. It just would not start. Put another condenser in it, adjusted the points. Well, now they're too tight. And I think part of that's my problem now. Let me tell you why. What I was running into was the Optima battery that was in it was over 10 years old. And although it always showed 12 volts, and it would crank the engine fast, I wasn't getting hardly any voltage to the coil. somebody even told me, well, maybe there's something wrong with your, that's actually your voltage regulator that comes, the alternator does not have a built-in regulator, so it has, so I put a new one of them on there. All that really does so is just tell the alternator how much voltage to charge the battery with. It doesn't, to me, it doesn't do anything else. Maybe it does. I don't know much about the older systems. I'm used to the internal or the computer regulated stuff, but either way, none of that seemed to help. So I finally went down, took the Optima down to AutoZone after it charged overnight, had them tested. It dropped, their test, it dropped at like 15%, but he said that's still considered good. It passed. And I said, would you please test it one more time? And he did, and this time it dropped it like 40%. I mean, it dropped it substantially. So about a $200 and whatever battery this is. Now I want to show you, now I've cranked on it this morning because I was trying to move it before I did anything, and it did not. Hang on, sorry. I don't have my tripod, it's over at the shop. So, but I was showing 13.4 almost this morning. It's still down to 12.5. So I've still got plenty of voltage. However, the reason I think that this thing is, it has the, yeah, I'm keep losing my train of thought here, trying to do things at the same time. Anyway, I think it has a, come on, it's not coming to me, but either way, a resistor is because, I'm going to turn the key to the on position, and I want to show you, my fingers may be in front of the cameras. Okay, with the key on, we know we got 12 volts over there, 12 and a half, but with it on the positive side, now, actually, I'm sorry, that's a negative side. No wonder I'm not, hang on. The wire was black at the bottom and it was red on the top, that's why I thought it was. It may have to be cranking for it to give me anything. I don't know why. Getting 0.65 there. And then on the negative side, I'm gonna have to look into this. Maybe, surely I don't have that stupid thing upside down. It would have thermonuclear melted down. But on the negative side, I'm getting 8.33. Again, I don't know much about the old point. I mean, I used to 30, 40 years ago. I run electronic ignition so long that I'm just not, you know, I'm not remember. But either way, when I crank it, it takes it up to 9.5 volts. Where with the old battery, it was dropped it to like 2.4. So I didn't think I was getting enough juice to, you know, that was the reason why I was having trouble with it starting, was the battery, although it was sending enough power to the starter, was not sending enough power to the rest of the distribution, and that was the reason I was having garbage fire. So with that said, I went ahead and put the battery in, and again, I thought that fixed it, and it didn't. So I know, and I don't have this thing where I want it, and sorry the furnace just kicked on if it got loud. I am going to try to crank this engine and show you what weak fire I have, and I think it's because I have the point set too tight, so I'm going to make an adjustment. But for now, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this or not, especially that light on over there. Turn it off. I don't think it's going to make any difference, but anyway, I'm going to try this, see if you see how much fire this thing actually has. It's moving too much. I knew this was probably going to happen. That's the problem with these things, boy, they shake. I don't know how good you saw it. I saw it in the deal there. It has a bit of fire, but it doesn't have very much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the air cleaner off, because it's kind of a booger to get to. As it's down there, kind of in the depths underneath some stuff. I smell gas. I know it's getting gas. I've already pulled the top of the air cleaner off and checked and choke set and everything. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull that off and get my feeler gauge out and actually make an adjustment on it like it's supposed to be, and see if that makes any difference on how much fire I actually have, and see if we can get this thing to start. I think it was a combination of problems, and I'm still not sure that I have found the actual problem, but this is just a way to start, and I'll try to video it again if I can get it to fire. So anyway, I'll get back with you here in a little bit.